How to analyze management. Now, I know most of you want to know this. So, before I begin, I think that this is going to be a long tape. So, if you are busy, if you are into some other work, then you can just add this tape to your watch later list, and then you can afterwards, when you are free, you can listen to this. So let us continue. How to analyze management is the question. Now, before I answer that, I just want to make a request. I just want you to imagine something. Just imagine that you want to do a business with criminals. You are going to do a business deal with criminals. By criminals, I mean the people who are not honest, the people who do not have any integrity, they do not maintain any transparency, they are not fair, they use unfair tactics, and you are in the position that you have to do a deal with them. You have to start business with them. You have to partner up with them. Now, what would be your thoughts? Will you still look out for a background? Will you still analyze them? Will you still look out for the traits in their personality? No, right? You will just have a supervision on them. You will just look at their activities, look at how they are managing the business, and for most of the time you will have to trust them, what they are saying, what they are willing to do. You just have to trust them because they are criminals, they are dishonest, you know that. So you will have to trust them, right? Now, same is the situation in the stock market. We have around 5,000 to 6,000 companies, and many people, many businessmen who are running such a huge business, who are at that such huge level, they are not really honest, they are not really fair, they have employed unethical tactics, they have employed immoral ways to reach where they are. Just look at Ambani. Do you think he has reached at that level with morality, with ethical practices? It is impossible in a country like India. We know how much corruption is there. We know how much difficulties we have to face when we run a small business. Even a small business requires you to have documentation, to have certain permissions, to have certain requirements, to follow some guidelines, and it is very difficult for an honest person to run a successful business. It is very difficult. Now, I am not saying that all of the people, all of the businessmen are immoral, all of them are dishonest. I am not saying that. You see, there are people like Ratan Tata. He is not a shrewd businessman as far as his public image is concerned. What we see him, how we see him in the interviews, he doesn't seem to be that kind of a person who might employ shrewd business tactics or who might engage into unethical practices. But we know how his companies are performing. He is honest, he has integrity, he is patient, he maintains transparency with the investors, but still, most of his businesses are struggling. Tata Motors, Tata Sky, his telecommunication business. So, honesty does not work in the business world. You see, this business world is similar to a jungle. And in jungle, one who is fittest, one who is fastest, one who is strongest survives. There are no laws here. The more you exercise your power, the more stronger you are, the more forces you employ to defeat the competition, the more are the chances of you being successful. If you become friendly, if you think for everybody here, then it becomes very difficult to run a business. Now, for example, Reliance Jio, when they entered the market, the whole telecommunication industry was bent down on its knees. Airtel, Idea, Vodafone, all of them fell down. Now, if Ambani was concerned about the people, about other players, then Ambani wouldn't employ such measure or tactic. But he still did, because he has to do business. He has to survive. And to survive, you have to kill few people. And by killing, I do not mean literally. Killing in business is a different thing. So, first of all, when you enter in the market, then the image that you have in your mind, the image that there are honest person out there, the image that there may be transparency, the image that the game is fair, that image should be destroyed. When you are investing, you should think like you are doing business with criminals. That is the first step. Do not trust anybody. Do not trust the management. Do not trust the financials. There are instances in the history, there are instances in the stock market when we have found out that the numbers reported in the balance sheet were wrong. There are accounting frauds. We have instances in the market where people themselves have given fake promises to the investors, and later they couldn't do as they promised and the stock fell down. We also have examples where the management lied to the investor only to keep its stock price floating, and later the truth was in front of the investors. There are also examples where the management was observed as a strong management, where the CEO was thought as generous, as fair, as honest. But that didn't work out well. We have Vijay Mallya. As long as his business was doing well, as long as his investors were doing well, he was in news. He was listed in the top richest people at some point in his life. His company was featured in many lists. So, you cannot make an opinion of any person based upon his interviews, based upon his description on their website, or his statements in the annual reports. But we cannot shoot arrows in the darkness. So we have to take help of that. We have to trust them as they come. You see, what we have about the management. First of all, I will tell you that there are two kinds of management. First management is the one who is with the company from its beginning. Like Reliance, he was there, Mr. Ambani was there from the beginning of that company, from the startup till present. Ratan Tata, same. Mahindra, same, Mr. Mahindra. If you want some popular examples, then we have Mark Zuckerberg, his Facebook. We have Steve Jobs about Apple. So this kind of management generally has its own interest in running the business because they are the ones who started it. They started the business, so they are more concerned about its progress rather than you. More than the investors, they are concerned because their stake is more. So, generally, the scams or the corruption or the negative things do not happen in such kind of companies where such kind of management is there. So first thing what you should look at is the promoter holding. If the promoter holding is greater than 40 or 50%, then the management itself has interest in running the business. So the chances of them doing something wrong with the company or reporting some negative aspects about the company are low. When they are working for their own sake. So the promoter holding should be high. Now there is second kind of management. The management who does not have any interest in running the business. They are there only for a job. They are there only to do their work. Now most of the government companies, PSUs, private companies like Axis, banks, HDFC, other similar companies, they do not have high promoter holding. They do not have a management who was there when they started. So the probability, the chances of scams occurring in these kind of companies where the promoter holding is low is pretty high. So first thing I would suggest is to have a look at the promoter holding. Now second thing is, like most of you might have heard, that look at the management, look at their background, their educational background. Well, first of all, it is completely wrong. The financial background does not tell you much. It doesn't tell you anything actually. Now what can you make out? If there is a person who has done a degree from a reputed university or from foreign university, what does it tell you? It does not tell you anything. Maybe the person was strong in his academic school, in his test, in his exams. He studied there, so what? That doesn't tell you anything about his character, nothing about his personality. Educational background does not give you any hint about his personality. So do not ever go by educational background. In the market, there are companies whose CEOs, whose management, whose chairman is just a BCom holder. There are such people. So judging people based on their educational qualifications is not a good idea. Now, to give you popular examples, we have Mark Zuckerberg, we have Steve Jobs. They do not have any college degree, except for now. They got it now after becoming billionaire. Without even going to college, they got that degree. So first thing is, do not assume that the educational background tells you something about a person. It does not tell you anything. It does not tell you nothing. So that is one thing. Second thing is the interviews or the public statements which we get. Now most of the time the interviews are pre-planned and are scripted. In television or the newspaper interviews, the questions most of the time are given to the management beforehand. The management then prepares for the answers, what to answer, what not to answer. The questions are also filtered. So it is not like the political interview. Even most of the political interviews are pre-planned. But in the business, most questions are pre-planned. And the answer of that management or the opinion of that management does not really tell you anything in truth, in real. The questions which are asked are only those questions which the management wants to answer. So the reality is often blurred in the interviews. But that does not mean that you stop watching the interview. It certainly tells you something. But what I am saying is just to give you a view, a point of view, that you don't trust it completely. Now that you know that they are pre-planned, then when you will listen to those interviews, when you will read those interviews, then you will have a different image. That way you won't get influenced by their words. So this is my major concern of telling you these things. Next is the statements in the annual report. Most people look at annual report as an evidence of truth, but it is not. Annual report is more like a sales document. It is a sales document prepared by the company every year to lure new investors, to attract new investors. The forward-looking statements are often exaggerated in the annual report. The exaggeration is there. So if you look at the annual report and if you read it like it is an evidence of truth, then you are fooling yourself. First of all, the statements are crafted. It is a 200 to 250 pages of a book, of that annual report, and most of it is not even prepared by the management. They hire some team, some artistic team, some designers, and then that information is crafted, that annual report is made out. So do not take annual report as it is. So is there anything to be trusted? Are the numbers to be trusted? The balance sheet, the financials? I would say no. There are independent auditors, there are auditor reports after the statement is given out, but still the numbers might be cooked. Just remember my first point. Look as if you are dealing with criminals. Do not trust what you see. The balance sheet or the financial statements, take them as a pinch of salt. For any new company, it may not be applicable to the companies which are old, which have generations and generations in that business. It may not be true there. But if there is a new company, if there is no background available of that management or about that business, then just assume that you are dealing with criminals. When you look at the numbers, then imagine as if the numbers are untrue, or assume the consequence. What if the numbers are untrue? Is it really possible for that level of company to report such high profits? Always be a skeptic. And I am not saying that don't trust anybody. I am not saying that everything is wrong and hogwash. No. But keep that image, keep that information in your mind, keep that point of view that maybe it could be wrong. Maybe this could be cooked. So that is the main point. Look at the numbers, take them at face value, but keep a skeptic's point of view. Now, what is to be trusted then? First of all, when you are analyzing the management, then look out for the annual report and see how transparent the annual report is. If the annual report is simplistic, it is easy to understand. If the numbers are not complicated, if the phrases are not complicated, if it is easy, it is written in an easy language, then it means that management is honest, it is transparent. And if the statements are complicated with jargons and huge vocabulary, then maybe the management doesn't want a layperson to understand it. Now, when I am talking to you, then I would generally use simple words. I will use simple statements because I really want you to understand, right? But if I don't want you to understand, I just want to give a statement only for the sake of it, then I might use complex statements. You might have seen people who lie. Anyone who is lying, he keeps on speaking in circles. He does not use simple phrases. He makes the statement very complex because he wants to hide something. So first thing for you is to look at the annual report and see how transparent it is. Are the numbers or the statements really easy to understand? Are they really telling you the truth? And how you can do that I cannot tell you. You have to analyze by yourself. There are some things which you yourself have to do. You see, first of all, the question itself was very concerning to me because you have asked me how to analyze the management. It is like asking how to analyze a person, how to judge a person. And in case of management, there are 8, 10, 12 people. It is very difficult to analyze just one person. It is very difficult to say whether this person is honest or not honest. It is very difficult to say whether he is hardworking or not hardworking. Even in our friend circle, we fail to understand the character of the people. Often the people we think of as honest turn out to be the most dishonest people. So when you are analyzing the management, and that too based on the public statements, based on the interviews, it is not real. It could be crafted. So anyway, we will now focus on what can be done. So first was look at the annual report and see how transparent it is. Second is take opinion of the employees. Now, in this world of internet, taking opinion of the employees is very easy. You just have to search the salary sites like Glassdoor or Indeed, where the employee reviews are given. The employees who have worked in that company, they give the employees about the management, about the salary, about the working condition. So take the opinion of the employees. Are the employees saying positive things about the management? Are they complaining about the work culture? Those things can tell you the reality instead of going through these complex structures or the complex ways. Look out for the employees and their reviews. Second, if the company has a distribution chain, then you can just visit their franchisee or you can visit the distributor shop. You can ask him few questions about the upper management, how the sales team is there, how the customer support is there, and that might give you some direction. Next, third thing is the customer itself. If you do not get opinion of the management, if you do not get any assumption or any view about the management, it's okay. If you do not get view of the employees, then it is still okay, but at least know the opinion of the customer. He is the most honest person. You can get that on Amazon reviews, you can get that on Google, you can get that on YouTube. It is simple, just one search away. And these are the things which most people forget. They go on to the management, they go on to the website, they look for what education the management has done, what was the past job of that CEO. These things are not worthy of your time. What is worthy is the company itself. So look out the employee reviews, see what the employees are saying about the company, about the product, because in the end the product is the representation of the company itself. It is the representation of the management. Now just imagine if you were to look at my car, and if my car is not clean, it is dirty, it is not in good condition, even though it is new, then you can assume only by looking at my car that I am not a good person. I do not like hygiene, right? That kind of judgment can be made. Or if you look at my house, if you visit my house, and if the rooms are not clean, if there are some complex things, if there are negative books at my table, then you can judge my character based upon those things. Even if you don't meet me, even if you don't talk to me, based upon the way I live, based upon the way I drive, based upon the way I read, or based upon my friends, you can still judge me, you can still form an opinion which can be right to some extent. So it is not necessary for you to meet me personally. That is how the management can be judged. That is how the management can be analyzed. It is not necessary for you to look at the management directly. Even the signs which are given to you indirectly via the employees, via the product, via the distributor chain, those can still tell you. Although meeting the management directly is a very good thing. I'm not saying don't do that. But if you don't get the chance to meet the management, then you can look out for these things because they are more reliable. So we were talking about the employees. No, we were talking about the product. So if the product is in good condition, if the sales team or the customer support team is good, if the coordination is there, then we can assume and presume that the management is honest, it is transparent, and it includes in ethical business practices, right? So those are some indirect things. Now what is the direct thing which you can do? The direct thing which you can do is, if you have invested in a startup which is new in the market, if the company does not have much past background, it is difficult for you to analyze, then you can just attend the board meeting or the annual meeting of that company. As an investor, you can just purchase one share of that company and you will be invited to the meeting, annual general meeting. Just visit the meeting and then you can look at the management directly, or you can attend the conference calls of the company. There is an investor conference call, it is investor meet. Investors can participate in that call and investors can ask questions directly to the management. So even in those calls you can get a pretty much good idea about how the management is. If you ask a question and if the management responds clearly and honestly, then chances are that you are doing well and good, that your selection is good. But if you ask a question and the management refuses to answer it or avoids it, then the chances are that you are dealing with a wrong person. So that is the one direct thing which you can do. Now, in the end, what I would say is, don't get into complex businesses. I had said in one of my video that only one or two stocks, one or two companies are enough to make you rich, to make you billionaire. One or two stocks are enough. I had given examples in that video, and there are still examples. If you just Google, then you will find out that just one or two multi-baggers if you had, then you could have been one of the richest people. Only the timing mattered. So don't get into complex businesses where you have to keep on supervising the management, where you have to keep on supervising the competition, where you have to keep on supervising the industry. It is much easier if you choose a simple business where even if a fool sits on that business, even if a fool is appointed to manage that business, even then the business should thrive. Now, what are the simple businesses? Now, I will just give you an example out of the industry, out of the stock market. You might have heard about the company Parle-G, or you might have heard the example of MDH, the masala company. So that is a company where the management does not have to do much work because there is no recreation there. The products are already built, the supply chain is already built, and only the supervision is needed. Unlike a space company, unlike a car company, unlike a technology company. You see, in tech company, the innovation is necessary. In airline company, the continuous management is necessary. Airline manages thousands of people every day. So in an airline, the management should be strong. It must be strong from lower level to upper level. Each level should be strong only to sustain the airline company. Because it is a very complex business. It is one of the most difficult business. Many rich people have lost their fortune running the airline company. So that is a complex business. But just like Parle-G, MDH or Pepsi, those are finished goods. Nothing more is needed. They have a formula, they just fill it in bottles and then they sell it. So those are simple businesses. To give you a recent example, then we have IRCTC. It is a government company. They just have a website. All they have to do is maintain that website. All they have to do is look after the security of the website and to safeguard the data of the visitor, and nothing more is there. They don't have to generate new website every day. They do not have to generate a new formula every day. It is one of the simplest business. Nothing is complex. No reinvestment is needed. No debt is needed. Even a fool can manage that company. Now, I am not saying this literally, or maybe actually in these kind of platforms, people tend to pick up the word what you say. I have seen it in my past videos. So don't take it literally, otherwise you will say, okay, let's appoint a fool in the management of IRCTC and let's see how does he manage it. I am not saying it. It is just a comparison. Even a fool can manage it means it is so simple. That is what I mean to say. So you have to look for such companies where there is no recreation, where there is no complexity. It is simple and it still has the ability to make fortune. You see, if you look at Warren Buffett and his portfolio, then you will find out many simple businesses. He does not deal with complexity. Only recently has he invested in Apple and Amazon, and that too is due to some other managers who had allocated that capital. He himself did not invest in Amazon, although he did invest in Apple. But he likes simple businesses, and he has built his fortune on simple businesses. He does not get into technology, he does not get into pharma, although he might have some pharma companies, but he does not get more into that. Much of his capital, much of his portfolio is dedicated only to the simple businesses or the simple industries. What are the simple industries, you might ask? So simple industries are bank. Bank is a very simple business, although it is also one of the riskiest business, but it is a simple business. You take money from people and then you give that same money to some other person and you receive a margin there. And you also sell third party products in that bank, like mutual fund, insurance. So bank is a pretty simple business. Nothing complex is there. No new formula needs to be developed. FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, in that we have detergents, we have edibles, food, we have the beauty products. Those kind of things are simple businesses. The cold drink or the wine business. What else? What else is simple? I think TCS or Infosys are also one of the simplest businesses, although they are in tech industry. Actually, they do not engage in any creational activities. They do not produce anything as of now. They only provide service to their clients, national and international clients. They act as a consultancy services. So that's why at this level currently they are a simple business. But if they engaged like Google, if they engaged in creating something, then the business reaches some level of complexity. Now, when I say complex, then it does not mean that you avoid every complex business. The word complex is very subjective. What is complex to me may not be complex to you. You see, when I was in my first standard, then division was very complex to me. Dividing two numbers was very difficult for me. But now that I have grown up, division is simple to me. It is very simple. So that is what the complex word mean. It is subjective. When I say complex, then it depends on your definition. For me, banking is simple, but maybe for some people banking could be a complex business. So you have to filter out what is complex to you, what is simple to you. DMart is a simple business. It is a retail chain. Now what is complex? Reliance is complex. The pharma companies are complex. Reliance is so huge. I have seen people on YouTube, many popular YouTubers are giving opinion on Reliance Industries only in just 10 to 15 minutes. Reliance is so huge. It is an industry. We do not call it company. It is so huge that Reliance is an industry itself. And it takes no time for these people to give an opinion on such huge company. It is shocking. But I have seen still people, many of them are following them, many of them are commenting them. Well, I am not saying this that I am jealous or anything. I don't care, first of all. I don't even care, I don't even know if you are listening to this tape or you are not. I am just speaking only to express myself. Maybe somehow, somewhere, one or two people may get benefited. So I am not interested in gathering the crowd. But Reliance is a complex business. Analyzing and forming an opinion on that company is very, very difficult for a lay person like me. Pharma companies are complex. They have to reinvent everything. When there is a new disease, when there is something going on, the it is a progressive industry. Pharma does not stay at its own level. Like every year there is a new change, there is a new medicine. Like just like there is a new disease, so they have to match up and they have to create a new medicine. Unlike cold drinks, we were drinking same Coca-Cola or same Pepsi 50 years ago. We were eating same Parle G 50 years ago. We were shopping in the same D-Mart 10-20 years ago, and we are doing it now. So those are simple businesses, they do not change. But pharma is a complex business. Similarly, telecommunication, the SIM card business, the internet business is also very much complicated. It is complicated because it does not stay the same. It is constantly changing, it is constantly evolving. So for you to keep track of that industry or to keep track of that company, you too should keep on learning. We had 2G earlier, we had 3G, now we have 4G, and now there are talks about 5G. So it is a complex business. The company has to cope up with the technological change, and they incur debt on that only to cope up. So that's why I think them as a complex business, although for some people it might not be. So my suggestion would be to focus on simple businesses where even if the management does something, you can react as quickly as you can. So that would be my overall take. Invest in simple businesses, follow the steps of management analysis what I have told. Maybe you might have your own ways. You can also comment it in the below the video. So keep sharing all this. I have my opinions, I share it with you. If you have your own opinions, you can share it with me and others. Your comment, your opinion is more valuable than my own take. I don't want to be just one person speaking. I want this channel, I want this tape to be a discussion where we all share our knowledge and everyone has something to teach. So do not ever underestimate yourself. Keep on learning. That is all what I would say. In the end, the conclusion is that analyze the management, look up on the opinions, read the statements, read the annual report, watch the interviews, but do not completely trust them. Do not put a blind faith on the words of management. That is all I want to say. So that's it. I will see you in the next audio. Thank you for watching.